Hello and welcome, guys, to the first episode of a new series we're doing called Changing the World. We've got author Tom French here. Give us a wave. There we go.
Hello.
So Tom French, the famous author, and his newest publication, A Dozen Disappointing Disciples, a book that explores the various stupid things that the disciples did and how God used them to change the world. This is a hilarious book, and it's going to really help you discover the ways in which God might want to use you to change the world as well. So we're going to be over a period of a few weeks exploring different chapters of Tom's book, which are all centered around a verse or a story from the Bible. And Tom unpacks that beautifully well and then comes out with a really awesome encouragement with each chapter. We're going to jump into the first chapter of this series, and it is chapter 2, which is called Napping and Screaming, Jesus Calms the Storm. So this chapter builds off the passage Mark 4:35-41 in the NIV version. So if you haven't already read this, please stop this video now, read that, and then jump back on, and yeah, let's get into it. So, Tom, we all have storms in our lives which can cause us to panic and freak out, just like the disciples did. Is it okay to be scared? Do you think Jesus gets frustrated when we get scared?
No, I don't think that Jesus gets scared, upset with us, frustrated when we get scared. I think he knows exactly what we're like. He knows what we're going through. He is a human himself, so he knows what the human experience is like, and he knows what it's like to be threatened by things. And so, yeah, when we get scared, it's a totally natural response to get scared. In fact, it's a good response to get scared sometimes, because when we're afraid, then we can respond well to whatever is causing us to be afraid, and it keeps us alive often. If you weren't afraid in dangerous situations, you might die a lot quicker than if you were afraid. So, no.
How does knowing that Jesus is actually with us in those storms help us get through the scary stuff?
When you go and do something that's scary, if you have to go through it by yourself, it's pretty tough. Like if you are going to go on a roller coaster and it's like, go on the roller coaster, go by yourself, it's pretty scary. But then if you're like, no, if I'm going, you're coming with me. You say to your friend, you grab your friend, you jump on the roller coaster with them, then the both of you are on the roller coaster together. It's still just as scary. It's still just a roller coaster, but you got your friend right beside you. Now, the thing about Jesus is, if Jesus is with you, he's not just any old friend, but he's the friend who controls the universe. And so if Jesus is with you, then you know that he's going to be looking after you. Even if terrible things happen to you, and sometimes they do, if you've got Jesus with you, then he is going to be looking after you, caring for you, and helping you through whatever it is that you're going through. So it's worth having Jesus with you.
So, Tom, why doesn't God stop the storms completely? Because, you know, God is all powerful, right? So if he loves us so much, why does he not just stop the storms completely, and why can't we just live without the scary stuff?
Just on a meteorological level, I am no meteorologist, but I'm pretty sure if there were no storms, that would probably mean that there'd be a lot of stuff that wasn't happening in the world. The air wasn't moving around very well, rain wasn't falling, we need rain to fall in certain places so that plants can grow, that we can have water to drink. If it was always nice and sunny outside, then it might be fun for us, but eventually we'd die of thirst. And the thing is, what God knows that we don't know is he knows what's going on in the storms, and he uses storms, sometimes really hard stuff, to grow us to be more like him. And sometimes it's through those storms that we know him better. It's through those storms that we know how to love better. It's through those storms that we see how he is looking after us. And there's some good things and important things that need to happen because of those storms. Other times bad things happen, and God doesn't want those bad things to happen because people do evil stuff. But God doesn't step in, because if he stops the evil stuff, then he stops people having the choice. And if he stops people being able to choose to do bad things, then he stops people being able to choose to do good things. So bad things can't happen, but good things become meaningless. So the thing that we see then is, though, with Jesus, is God doesn't even stop the storms for him. He is the most loved Son of the Father, And instead of saving Jesus from the storms, Jesus chooses to step into our world and to go through the worst things, to have the most evil thing ever done to him as he gives his life on the cross. And out of that most evil thing comes life for us, comes forgiveness. Jesus rises from the dead, and we can rise with him when we trust in him. And so we see that God uses even the worst things for our good. And so if he's able to do that, and Jesus is willing to step into that for us, then we know he's not going to abandon us. He's always going to love us, and he's going to use even the worst things for our good.
Thank you so much for that answer, Tom. So guys, this was kind of the end of the first session of Changing the World with Tom French. Now we really hope that this is encouraging for you, and we're going to give you some discussion questions that you can go through with your youth group, in your groups, however that is going to work for you guys. But just the main thing to remember is that Jesus is with you in the storm. So keep believing, keep doing what you're doing, guys, and big blessings from Soul Survivor and Tom French. And we'll see you next week.